Resuming. Weird. World. Order. Broadcast. Dynaphones connected. Initiating broadcast signal in
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, this is the Nerd World Order broadcast. I am the man that you call Dukes, and to my right, it's all about the
Kamehameha! What's up with your boy Joe, baby?
and to my other right, weighing in at 178 adamantium pounds, coming straight out of Krakoa, Alfonso X-Man Flores.
What it do, nephew?
And to my other right, just being introduced by Alfonso X-Man Flores, it is the one and only Jake 2020 Slayward. Welcome to the podcast, Jake.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming on, man. When we started talking about honoring Akira Toriyama, I was like, bro, we definitely have to have Jake on the show. One time I was at a party at Alfonso's house, and Jake and I just started chopping it up about Dragon Ball. And I was like, dude, I've always wanted to have Jake on the show, and this is the perfect opportune moment to do it. So thanks very much for coming on, Jake.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. I've been wanting to come on for a while. It's kind of sad to say, like, we had to like wait till his passing, but you know what, the man was like, all encompassing, all I don't know, just like a great human being, and he's brought so much joy into my world.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. And that's why for me, I was really excited to do this episode. Thanks everyone who has listened to the same episodes over and over as we ran into various issues. I got sick, Alfonso got sick, until finally we're able to do this episode. So Toriyama passed a couple of weeks ago. We tried to put it out, but life happened. So thank you all very much for being patient as we get back to all of you for this episode of the Nerd World Order broadcast. So the first thing you're probably wondering, like, well, who is this Jake guy? And that's right, Jake. Oh, what do you know about that? Alfonso, what do you got? X-Men? Ah, come on, Alfonso. Come on, man. You probably want to know a little bit more about Jake. So I guess the first question I would have for you, Jake, is what really got you interested in nerd culture?
I don't know if it's necessarily like what got me interested, because like it's just something that's just been around me since I was little, and maybe I just never grew out of. I think it all started with watching Batman or Superman the animated series with my brothers, and then just kind of went on from there.
No, I think it's pretty cool because as Alfonso alluded to, Jake is Alfonso's nephew. So it's interesting because, like, for me, it was Batman 66 and the Super Friends and everything like that. So, like, generationally, it was still that Superman Batman influence, but that's normally how it starts, is that Batman Superman influence. So that's pretty cool that, no matter what, it's like the DC marketing machine is what gets us all interested, which is very cool. What got you? What makes you a nerd exactly?
Probably just like my unapologetic like feelings towards stuff that I'm interested in, whether it's Dragon Ball, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Persona, or anything that might hold an interest to me. Like I would like a lot of different stuff. Maybe not everything, but a good chunk.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, as people get into anime more and more, I find myself feeling like I am very uninformed about anime, Joel say like, "Oh, this new anime is coming out, that new anime is coming out," and then he's like, "It's on Crunchyroll," and I'm like, "I'm not paying for another streaming service," but there's just so much good anime out there. And then like today, the new trailer for Acolytes came out, and once again, I feel like I'm not deep enough into Star Wars lore to really understand the importance of the High Republic. So I had to reach out to our boy Danny Acosta and ask him about that. So similar to you, I'm a nerd, but unless it comes to Marvel, then I feel like I'm very surface level. But still, it's like a nerd, in my opinion. It's like you dabble in different little things, but there's that one thing that you always have that you go like super into, like for Alfonso, it's X-Men, or for me, it's always been Marvel. So yeah, I agree 100%. When you're a nerd, you kind of touch everything. But as you touch everything, what's your favorite fandom?
Favorite fandom? That's like trying to pick a favorite child, uh, probably for the theme for like this episode, I'll probably say Dragon Ball, but maybe tomorrow will be Star Wars or something.
Yeah,
Probably because of the new Acolyte trailer.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Alfonso, pick a favorite child.
No. Hey Jake,
Fun fact: all my cousins are X-Men characters.
Jake, you're missing out. I didn't hear you once say anything about Pokemon, man. For a while, you wanted to change your name to Ash. Pokemon was his jam.
Yeah, I was, part of like that, generation, 5-6 years old that was like brainwashed by Japan that like loved Pokemon. And, for a time I did, especially like the first, second generation. I still do like it, but I'm probably not in love with it as I used to be,
They just Ash finally finished his journey, and they're going to come out. Have they come out with the new characters yet? The new trainers?
I believe there's a trailer. I'm not sure if it's out yet or not. I haven't looked
Okay.
into it too much.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I was never into Pokemon, but I always kind of followed, like, obviously I like Pikachu. Pikachu's cool. Pikachu's not a rabbit, by the way. Some people think Pikachu's a rabbit, but he's not. But, I always thought that the animation was cool and everything like that. So I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to do with this. Not really a reboot, but kind of a reboot, like for the, next gen. So it'll be pretty cool to see what they do with that. Who's your favorite hero?
Favorite hero? So Dragon Ball wise, I'm gonna probably say Goku because always at the tender young age at like what 8, 9, 10 or whatever up until like an adult, he's always been like the man. Even though like he might not see himself as a hero, he always just wants himself a good fight. He's always always down to throw hands either for himself or for his friends and family.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I love about Goku, and we'll definitely talk about that a little bit more as I was running through, my love of Dragon Ball. Uh, to me, Dragon Ball is a little bit like Fast and the Furious. It really is about family, but it's, in fact, now that I say it, I'm going to stop and we'll cover that later because I'm like, hmm. Oh, by the way, shout out to my boy Danny Salazar, Star Wars expert. Danny Acosta is actually an MMA writer. So shout out to Danny Acosta out there writing for ESPN. It's been a long time since I talked to you, bro, but I talked to Danny Salazar today about Star Wars. So good looking out, Alfonso, for correcting me on that. And what is your favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Oh, that's a good one. Let me think just for a second though. Again, if we're sticking with Dragon Ball, I'm gonna say
anything you want.
Anything. Okay,
anything.
Like, is it like nerd movie or just like any movie in general?
Any movie doesn't matter. It could be like Matrix Revolutions if you wanted.
Human Centipede.
You know what? I think like the movie, like I'll always fall back on, like I can just watch over and over and over again, is probably Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. I think I've only watched that once, believe it or not. Like, it's a phenomenal movie. It's no. I've seen it twice. Yeah, I've seen it twice because I saw it the first time, but then I saw this cool, like, they ran the trilogy, like, back to back to back in a movie theater, so I got to watch the
Mhm.
trilogy. Yeah, it was super cool. But
Okay.
other than that, I've only seen it twice, which is very sad now that I think about it. You guys probably, um, you may not be too familiar with Akira Toriyama. My son informed me of his passing. He like came out and he's all, "Hey, Akira Toriyama passed away," and I was like, "Oh, I didn't even know that you know who that was." But that's who we're talking about today. And if you don't know who Akira Toriyama is, I am going to admit um, my ignorance in this particular case. I love Dragon Ball. I've had the opportunity to meet the voice actors, but my understanding of Akira Toriyama has definitely taken leaps and bounds over the past 2 weeks as, I see his original work prior to Dragon Ball and I understand better how he came up with the characters and everything. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, honoring Akira Toriyama in one of my favorite fandoms, which is Dragon Ball. And I'm really excited to talk about this because my introduction to Dragon Ball was just, dude, it was so cool, man. I can't wait to talk about it. You guys have probably heard it before, like blah blah. I got the VHS tapes, but man, it's just the best, man. I absolutely love it. So let's jump right into it. Joe, I'm gonna let you go first because I feel like you're, in my opinion, the Dragon Ball expert. I don't know, maybe Jake is. We're about to find out. About to go head to head. But Joe, if you could talk about your intro to Dragon Ball.
Mine was pretty much Comic Con. So you got to think this is probably like 30 years ago. I want to say 30 years ago, where like all they had was bootleg tapes. There was really no access to watch any of this anime, unless you're from Japan and you were over there and you got to watch it when it first came out. But I remember buying, at the time, they had buy two, get one free. So I think I remember I got like 9 tapes. Didn't realize they were movies. I thought they were like, I didn't realize that they had episodes. I thought it was just movies that they came out with. And
Right.
then next year when I went back, I was like, oh, wow, there's episodes. And so it was pretty tough to try to get those episodes because, 2 tapes for like, you got 3 tapes for 40. And then, it was tough to continue the series. But good thing, like Telemundo had Dragon Ball. So like, like the Latino channel was up on game, bro. Like that's why like it's really huge in the Hispanic community because they were all about Dragon Ball before America was. And so I would catch some glimpses of episodes on, like Telemundo. And then we had like a little international channel. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I could watch some episodes on the international channel. So I couldn't understand Japanese, couldn't understand Spanish, but with the art, you can kind of in your mind, figure out what they were saying and stuff like that. But that was my gist of how I got involved with Dragon Ball.
So I'm gonna give you the sequel to Joe's introduction to Dragon Ball. So Joe comes up to me and he's like, "Bro, you gotta watch these tapes." And I was like, "Well, if Joe's gonna recommend them, I'm gonna check them out." So initially, when I watched Dragon Ball, Joe gave me his stack of 9 Dragon Ball VHS tapes, and I was confused because there were movies and like you would have Gohan, but then you would have Goku in another movie. And I'm like, well, how's he a kid now? Oh, now he's an adult. And okay. And I remember why, like, I didn't understand Majin Buu at all because obviously you have regular Boo, then you have evil Boo, and it was just jumping all over the place. But and then Vegeta, I was like, okay, how's this guy like wearing a vest here, but he's in the orange here? I just thought it was the same character, like young character, vest. I just thought it was the same character through the whole thing. But I love the fighting because uh, I think some episodes weren't even English, Joe. I can't remember for sure, but I don't know if
No,
it
they
was the
weren't.
track. They
It was
weren't?
none. It was all subtitled.
Okay, that's right. And even back then, bro, I couldn't read no subtitles. So
Yeah. And then it was like bootleg copies. So it wasn't even like good copies of the movies.
yeah, and
But
it was
yeah,
hard to track it.
to your point, it was like the time skip, but you just thought movies they just did a time skip. You didn't know
Yeah,
that, at the time, because we didn't really have you couldn't really go to internet at that time to try to figure out stuff, and everything was like they didn't really have too many anime magazines. I don't remember any at the time where you could like read up on stuff like that. But it's not as easy as it is for this generation now. Because I remember when it finally made its way to America and Funimation bought it,
Mhm.
you could still they still would only sell 2 tapes a month. Two
Really?
tapes a month. Yeah.
Wow.
And they formed like a big so for every saga, it was 2 tapes, and you put all the VHS tapes together, had pictures on the side, and it
Mhm.
would be a picture of the whole saga.
Dude, I remember that. I never owned it, but I remember
Yeah.
seeing it, and I was like,
That
"Oh,
was
that's
that was
so
cool.
cool."
Like 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Um, but this is where I digress and get annoyed with Dragon Ball Z because of that point in itself right there. If you think about it, 2 tapes a month, took you forever for him to go Super Saiyan, took him forever for them to go Krillin, and you would have to wait a whole month. Then you get 2 tapes, and then when you get the 2 tapes, they spend all that time talking.
Yeah.
All that time talking, and you still couldn't see them fight. And if I'm not mistaken, I remember they came out with like it was a different name where it cut out all the bull crap talking, and it was just
Kai.
it cut to the fight scenes. Why did they have
Mhm.
to do that? Because they know that crap sucked, bro. And this is why I digress. For me, Dragon Ball is like Dr. J, where it was good for its time and it opened up the door for everything else, but it's not the GOAT and not Michael Jordan of anime. There's just too many good animes out there.
Well, I don't know enough about anime. Like I said, Joe is clearly a huge anime fan compared to myself. So to me, Dragon Ball is always going to be the goat. I will say this: I watched Dragon Ball. Like I watched all the sagas, the Cell Saga, the Boo Saga, even GT on Netflix discs. Like I literally binged it like in maybe a month. It was like send 3 discs back, get 3 more, send 3 discs back, get 3 more. I think I even cranked it up to get like 4 or 5 just so I could every weekend I was just watch Dragon Ball. So I didn't run into that same challenge. Now there was a lot of fighting filler, a lot of filler. Like you could kind of get up, go walk around, come back. They were still talking and jumping around and stuff. But yeah, definitely. I see your point, Joe. Definitely. Jake, Mr. 2020, what was your intro to Dragon Ball?
I remember like some of my earliest memories of Dragon Ball Z. Probably was like on the playground. Like my friends would, say like, okay, we're gonna play, you be Vegeta, you be Trunks. I remember someone pointing me being Trunks, and I didn't know who that was at the time. I was like, what am I, an elephant or something? Um, but like not too long after that, I had an uncle, not this uncle, a different uncle, who was fairly into Dragon Ball Z. He would come over and he would, sometimes put it on. And I remember the one of the very first things I saw um, was the character Videl fighting Svovovich in the World Martial Arts Tournament during the Majin Buu saga before Majin Buu was even introduced, and just seeing how brutal that fight was between like her almost breaking his neck, and essentially he should have died, but he didn't, and in turn he just brutalized her, and I was like, holy, that's pretty violent to be on Cartoon Network. Um, and then I kind of jumped around a little bit, maybe stayed home from school, and I catch like the Saiyan saga on Telemundo. Um, and buying the DVDs of like the DVDs or VHS of like the Namek saga. So I was always like kind of jumping around because back in the day, if you couldn't really catch anything in order unless you like devoted your time to like the TV schedule. There was no streaming, and even back then, uh, VHS and DVDs, were pretty high price, and my mom wasn't going to buy the entire set for me. Um, but I think like what made me like kind of follow the stories was the video games that helped me out a lot, playing like Budokai and Budokai 2. That's what kind of helped fill in the gaps for me as well. And you are right. There is a lot of filler. Goku Goku versus Frieza takes like what 20 episodes, and Frieza says, "Oh, that's 5 minutes," while the planet's trying to blow up.
Yeah.
But it's always held a special place in my heart. And, even watching like the original Dragon Ball, seeing like Kid Goku's like antics and the funny stuff that they would get into watching GT. I remember I also had like these wall scroll posters of GT, and this was before GT was even airing in America. And I just remember seeing Goku, and I thought, like, is that Goten? And then I see Trunks, like, oh, why is he an adult? And just all these different character designs, and it's just very it is very confusing if you don't know the lore of it and anything. But it took me a while, but I finally understand like where everyone is, and got all my questions answered.
Yeah, I feel like that's why I had to binge watch it, because there was the time travel element with Trunks, and so that threw me off. But then when you watch it in order, it makes sense. But otherwise, I was just lost.
I know, like, I was also looking online at the time. Just I see future Trunks, but I remember seeing Kid Trunks. I'm like, but why is he in an older episode, but you see like Kid Trunks? And I didn't understand that at the time. Or seeing different versions of like Goku, Gohan, as both like kids and adults. It's just it would make like a lot more sense to like watch it from the beginning, or just read the the original manga. That is probably like the best way I would recommend like experiencing the story.
Yeah, definitely. The manga would be the way to go. I stay away from the manga just because I don't want to be spoiled by anything, or because normally people say manga's better than the anime. I don't want my Dragon Ball experience to be diminished if I'm like, well, now I see why people say that. So I kind of stay away from reading that manga.
You don't have to worry about that with Dragon Ball, bro. There's no spoils in Dragon Ball. Pretty much everyone's getting ready to lose, and here comes Goku and wins again. That's the gist of every Dragon Ball saga. So you don't have to worry about getting spoiled about anything. Which I'm surprised on Super was a little different.
I was about to say Super was a little different. Didn't 18 save the day? No, 17. Yeah, 17 saved the day. So, yeah, they mixed it up a little bit. They knew Joe was going to have this moment, and they were like, yeah.
They changed it. I mean, it's not as much filler in Super.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true.
But so they did regurgitate the movie in the first few episodes, though. I was like, come on, dude.
Well, you know what? I feel like they do that every time, and I think it's just part of their formula. Like, the movie is the first few episodes.
I think it's lazy writing.
See, I don't see that as lazy writing.
Well, because you're a Dragon Ball Z. You're like all about it. Anybody else will tell you it's just lazy. Just like when Demon Slayer comes out with the movie in the theaters, it's just the first 3 episodes of the new season. That's why I don't go watch the movie. It's just lazy writing, lazy time, easy way to get money.
I'm okay with that. Totally okay with that. Especially like getting into the movies a little bit, and we'll jump in a little bit more, but just the movie experience, being able to sit in the movie theater with like fans and just that energy and that excitement. There's probably nothing other than watching Godzilla -1 in 4D. It's an unparalleled experience for me personally. So, I'm willing to watch it twice, 3 times, 100 times. I'm okay with that. So I'm going to start this off. Oh, Alfonso, I forgot about you, Alfonso, because I normally only associate you with X-Men. What was your introduction into Dragon Ball?
My introduction to Dragon Ball was Jake. Jake was constantly telling me about Dragon Ball, and it seemed very interesting. It seemed like a really, it had such a history to it. Everything about it seemed so super interesting. But honestly, I never followed it. I'd like to hear the stories that he'd tell me about it, but I tried to watch it a couple times, and when I came in, it was in the middle of a fight sequence, right? So I watched 6 episodes, and I never got to see the beginning of the fight. I never got to see the end of the fight. I got to see a lot of speed lines. So it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. I appreciated it. The movements were nice. The internal monologue was really cool, but I guess I just didn't have the time for that. Jake's lent me movies, and they sat in my house for how many years? What movie was that, Jake?
That was the Super Broly movie, and I believe I lent it to you for at least like 6 to 12 months or something.
Yeah, and I wanted to, but it's just like now is at a point to where I'm not going to get up and put something in a DVD player. You know, everything's streaming. I'm just going to hit a button. Like the other day, I wanted to watch something from my past, and I'm like, I got the DVD out there, I got the Blu-ray out there, but you know what? I'm just going to buy it for $12.99 because it's on sale right now. I'm pretty lazy. I'm sorry. But yeah, I feel really bad because it seems like such an interesting story. I'm curious about the whole thing. You know, you got Gohan, you got Goku, and then sometimes like you got Monkey Tails, and it's so interesting. And like when we went to Con that one time and they had all those setups and we took all the pictures with them out, it was so cool. But I don't know how many episodes of Dragon Ball are there.
I'm gonna throw that one to Joe or Jake.
I want to say if you're gonna like include everything like Dragon Ball Z, Super, and GT, I want to say like 700-800 episodes, something like that.
You see, and I was always too afraid to get committed with something like that. Of course, my son Logan got me into One Piece, and I'm on episode like 900 or 800 of that now. So it's hard for me to say that I couldn't do it again. But yeah, it's work, man. It's work. But I really appreciate it. It's done a lot for the culture. You know, it's brought people out. And what's funny is I totally forgot that it was in Telemundo. I remember just scrolling through and like stopping and like I'm gonna work on my Spanish. Yeah, I can't do that too long, but it's always, I appreciate anything that has such a big backstory like that, you know, continues on and carries on. But unfortunately, I just never had the time to commit to that.
So one of the things you mentioned, Alfonso, was Broly, and that reminded me that Broly is my son's favorite hero. Not so much mine. I'm not a Broly fan, but jumping into your favorite Dragon Ball hero, I honestly don't have an answer for this one right now, so I'm going to turn it over to you, Jake. Who is your favorite Dragon Ball hero?
I feel like I kind of already answered that.
Yeah.
I'll say Goku, but if I had to choose like another one, I would say either Trunks or Gohan. Gohan for like his awesome moment, turning Super Saiyan 2 against Cell, just like, the character growth from like him being like, a little crybaby, at 4 years old, being in constant danger to like this, badass that, surpassed, was at the time was the strongest character around. And then Trunks, for being technically the one to defeat every villain at one point in their life. Like he killed Mecha Frieza, like, dealt with him straight away. He killed Imperfect Cell in his future, so he didn't have to worry about that in his timeline or any other timeline. And he prevented the resurrection of Majin Buu because, he knows how to get stuff done. He's not like the other, Saiyans that like, they want a good fight, but they kind of endanger the world by wanting to throw hands,
Yeah. I would have to say, because, as you're running through everything that Trunks does, I'm like, I really, when it comes to the heroes, I really still have to go also with Goku. And I know that a lot of people don't like Goku because he's always first to do everything, and nothing would really happen if Goku, to your point, Jake, didn't decide like, oh, I want to train and I want to fight and I want to see if I can beat this person. If he just like backed down or let people pass through, there would be no show. But I still just love Goku mainly because of his heart. I just feel like his heart and the way that he supports the other people is what I love about him. Let's see here, Joe. I'm gonna let you jump in.
Bro, stop the cap at 24. Stop the cap at 24. That fool got no heart, bro. The only heart he has for anything is fighting, bro. That's it. If it isn't farting, doesn't have heart for anything, bro. He wasn't a dad to his kid. He wasn't a dad to his kid. I'm sorry. And don't bring up the moment. Oh, he helped him do a little kamehameha and killed Cell. Okay, if he had a choice or being there for his son or picking a good fight, you think Goku's gonna pick?
Well, I think there's different types of heart, and I feel like he has the heart of a fighter. Ultimately, that's how he's able to power up
He's not a good
consistently.
dad. He's not right there, bro. Look at that. You already know.
Well,
You already know,
that's
bro.
that's one thing that you could observe. I
Yeah,
look at more of his ability to fight.
Piccolo's more of a dad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that doesn't in any way. I mean, you can use anything to say, well, if we use this metric, then we
Mhm.
say this. But if we
Well,
use
Heart
this
of
metric,
Fighting, I'll give
then
you
we
Heart of
say
Fighting,
this.
but that's it. He ain't the heart of the show, though.
Okay, I'm curious to see because you can jump in now. Who's your favorite fighter and who's the heart of the show?
I think I like Vegeta. Vegeta's my dude. And then it's between Piccolo and Gohan. I really felt like, no, don't get me wrong, dude. Dragon Ball is a big, big part of me. You know this, dude. I brought you into Dragon Ball, bro. My biggest disappointed moment is the perception of Gohan was getting passed the torch. And when he went in Super Saiyan 2 and he had electricity around him. I don't know if you remember that movie where he fought other androids.
No.
Yeah, it was like a different Dragon Ball movie where he was fighting more androids. And this fool was like doing lines like North Star, where he was just going like this and he was cutting androids in half because he was so
Mhm.
strong.
Okay.
Just that scene itself was dope. And then you flash forward and he's the great Saiyan man. And he's just doo doo.
So
So
who's
for me, so
who's
for
the
me,
heart?
it's I want to say it's Vegeta because he has a lot of pride for the Saiyan race. And then yeah, for me it's Vegeta.
Cool. Alfonso, as little as you know.
So I have questions. Okay, Vegeta originally was a bad guy, right? Or just somebody he wanted to
Absolutely.
fight. All right, and then
Yeah.
somewhere along the line he turned around. He had his redemption arc, and then he was
Yeah.
more like I remember Piccolo being a father figure. I was really drawn to Piccolo, maybe because he was green or something, but or it was the antennas. But he was always really cool. I just I did like that aspect of him looking out for the little guys. And okay, Goku, Gohan, who's the dad, who's the kid?
Goku's the dad. Gohan's the
Gotcha,
kid.
gotcha. And then who makes the androids?
Red Ribbon Army.
Red Ribbon R. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Red Ribbon
I'm
Army.
catching up. I'm catching up. And
Yeah.
if you get all the Dragon Balls, you get a wish, right?
Yes, all 7.
And where do you find the balls? Just people have them, and you beat them up and take the ball from them.
Yeah, pretty much.
No.
Sometimes there's a Dragon Ball finder. Bulma had a Dragon Ball finder, so you do that. Otherwise, you just kind of travel around looking for them.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. I like the adventure. I'm gonna go green guy. Piccolo. He's my favorite.
Piccolo is your favorite. So, in that case, going right back to you, who's your favorite villain?
Villain. Vegeta. I liked him as a villain. Is it Vegeta or Fajita? No.
Well, if you're watching, like, what was it, Vegeta in Telemundo? Vegeta.
Vegeta. Right. It's El Vegeta.
So, Jake and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't Saiyans, I'll say, native names always related to a food?
It's specifically a vegetable.
Yeah.
Like Vegeta is like vegetables. Goku Saiyan name Kakarot is carrot,
Mhm.
radish. Broly, broccoli.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Saiyan race tend to have like names, and like Toriyama also had like naming schemes for like his other characters too, like Mr. Satan or Hercule.
Mhm.
Satan and his daughter Videl. It's at Analglum. I can't even say the word. It's like a mix up between Devil, Bulma, Trunks, her dad, Dr. Briefs, named that for like different underwear garments, that type of thing.
Oh, that's what's interesting because I was doing research and they mentioned that Bulma is actually named after a woman's undergarment. That's crazy. I That never occurred to me. And Trunks is her son. That's crazy. That never occurred to me until right now. That's so cool, man. Wow, Jake just dropping the knowledge. That's dope. So, I'm gonna throw it out because when it comes to villains and heroes, I don't really have a number one. And it's interesting because like Piccolo was a villain, he became a hero. Broly was a villain, he became a hero. Vegeta was a villain, he became a hero. So I'm gonna have to go to but as a purist, there is only one villain who is just he might help you out from time to time, but he's just foul, right? He's just foul. And that is going to be uh Frieza. Yeah, definitely Frieza. Now, I I'm gonna stop right there. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, Frieza, dude, Black Frieza. Let's get it. Free and go Frieza too. He's my favorite villain. Um, I'm so glad that he did not make him a good guy. Because to your point, every villain that they come out with ends up being a good guy. And I'm so glad that they just kept him to being this villain that he is, and they haven't changed that. So I'm happy with that. But to your point, yeah, for me, he's always gonna be Frieza. I just think he's just dope. Just because he's a dude you love to hate. You hate that what he does, but you love it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you love how he does it, and but it's like, yeah, you never want him to be good because he's just so good at being bad. So, how about you, Jake? Who's your favorite villain?
Uh, that's a tough one. I do like Frieza a lot. I feel like he's because he's always constantly he got brought back in Super for like his movie and then like to Tournament of Power. He's like a good choice. But if I like really think about it, I have like an unorthodox answer, and not a lot of people know this character unless you watch like the OG Dragon Ball. One of my favorite villains is Mercenary Tao or Tao Pai Pai. Um, because he was the first villain that clapped Goku and that he wasn't able to like beat right away. He had to like go train and get stronger. Um, and if you, I don't know if you have a picture or know who I'm talking about, but he was like this old Chinese dude with a ponytail, and he was able to uh, take down like a pillar or something, throw it into the air, and then ride on it like a surfboard, and that's how he would like travel around. Yeah, that's the guy right there. he was he was a very underrated character. He came back like as a cyborg or something, but he's always like one of my favorites.
That's cool. I tried to watch the original Dragon Ball, but then Crunchyroll wanted me to pay $9.99 a month, and I was like, I'm gonna have to bootleg this on my Fire Stick later. So I haven't gotten around to watching the entire Dragon Ball, but I want to because it was pretty cool. Um, I'm gonna tell you guys my favorite moment because I'm not even exaggerating. It was in the Tournament of Power. Wait, no, it was in the Tournament of Destruction. I don't know. Anyway, is when Dragon Ball rode, or excuse me, when Goku rode Kefla's fire or her Kamehameha and then fired his Kamehameha. I know, dude, I'm so excited. I'm telling you this wrong, but dude, when he rode someone else's energy attack and then fired on the, I was like, dude, like I went into work the next day and like people were like, Dukes, did you see that? I was like, dude, I saw it. It's like, no, but did you see it? And I was like, dude, I saw it. It's the great, in my opinion, in my ever so like I do have like another favorite moment, but I'm not going to say it. But dude, but I've never seen so many people just hyped up where they were talking about it the next day. I have fast forwarded to like Dragon Ball just to see that one scene. I was like, son, come here, sit down, sit down, sit down, watch this, watch this. That's how good it is. It's just like the most incredible scene. Jake, what is your favorite moment in Dragon Ball?
I'm not gonna lie, that was a pretty good one. I would say I'm gonna go with the Tournament of Power too, and I think one of my most hype moments um, was during what was her name? It was the female Broly. Was it not Kefla, Caulifla, or Kale? That was her name, Kale. Um, I think when she turned like, you know, legendary, you know, buff, you know, for the first time, she was kind of hulking out. And there was a moment that Goku fires like Kamehameha away point blank in her face. And this is him blue at the time, and it did nothing. She tanked that, and she just like picks him up, you know, by his face, and you know, just starts wailing on him. And that was kind of like an homage to like the first Broly movie where, you know, he tanked a Kamehameha as when Goku was a Super Saiyan. So it kind of showed like the gap in like power levels. But you know, then again, like power levels are nonsense, you know.
Yeah.
But to me that was a very, very hype moment, because I was like, oh my god, she took that blue, like, oh my, that was just incredible, until like Jiren shows up and then takes her out. I'm like, okay, well, that was her, you know, great moment, but to me that was super hype.
You know, now that you mention it, I want to go back and watch the Tournament of Power, just because there were so many. When they finally started fighting, there were just so many good scenes, man. I got to go back and watch that now. I'm going to watch it. Alfonso, do you even have a favorite moment?
Yeah, the one where the one guy, he flew up there and he's like punch, punch, kick, punch, punch, punch. He's like punching and kicking, and the other guy's going like this. That was it.
That happened in Predator, bro. That was
Predator 2?
I'm pretty sure that happened in Man of Steel as well.
It was the one part, you know, where Wolverine came out and the claws they just slowly come out of his. No, sorry.
No. And then he got charged. Then his claws got charged by Gambit. I remember that scene. Yeah. Joe. Yeah. What's your favorite Dragon Ball moment, Joe?
For me, I have like, to your point, I have a few. When I first, probably Goku going Super Saiyan for the first time.
Okay.
I think that was dope, just because it was like, it meant something because his best friend died.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got the wish back. That, I think more, I'm like, dude, come on, dude. It ruins the moment if you think about it. Like, it's crazy because when you start watching Dragon Ball, you start to realize the more you watch it, the more you get upset at certain things that were done. Because, you know, like, I think it ruined that moment. But I have a bunch of them. I have that one, Vegeta going Majin Buu. And then, of course, what broke Crunchyroll is Goku going Ultra Instinct. I don't know if you remember that. When that episode dropped, crashed like the internet when he went Ultra Instinct. And then, you know, Vegeta going, his ego form was dope. He's all purple. So, I mean, I got a few. I mean, there's like, the one thing I like about Dragon Ball Z and Super and even Dragon Ball, I felt like in each different era, they had their own dope scenes that, you know, I'm pretty sure all of us can pick out at any moment which is their favorite scene, and, you know, you're subject to feelings if you see it again. You're like, oh, that's the favorite one, kind of thing for me.
Yeah. And I just want to give a shout out to Joe's nephew, because when I went to Anime Expo, he showed me a copy of Dragon Ball Superhero, which also has one of my favorite moments, which was when Piccolo went gold. That was just sick too. So, but I remember watching it on the laptop, and I was like, yeah, this is okay.
Oh yeah, that's right. You didn't see it, and you were watching on a laptop. We had the bomb pizza, which you hated. That's right.
Yeah, that pizza was disgusting, bro.
It was really good, dude.
Even bro, you know how much I love salad, bro, and I could not eat that salad.
I think because the pizza was just too greasy for you. I mean, that's the best kind of pizza for me.
Yeah, definitely.
But dude, that's dope about the movie. It seems like he fixed a lot of stuff that I complain about, because, you know, in that movie in itself, Gohan and Piccolo are they're like strong. That's one of my biggest beefs with the whole Dragon Ball series, is like it always revolves around Goku, which I'm fine with, but I feel like each character like doesn't have their moment, in my opinion. If it's not Gohan, you know, Vegeta, Goku. I mean, Tien, bro, come on, dude. Tien's never had a moment. Even Yamcha's never had a moment. Krillin's never really had a moment. You know what I mean? So it's like, and if you think about it, Krillin is like pretty much the strongest human on Earth. But I felt like, because he's so weak and he hasn't developed anything, you don't see that, and you just think he's like a side piece. but he did do better in Super. But you know, I feel
Yeah, he
like
did.
Super is like correcting all my arguments.
Yeah. But then we'll get into Daima where they kind of throw all that away. But hey.
Yeah.
Uh yeah.
Outside's Tien's moments holding back. So I'm like, yeah, bro, let me hold someone back while Alan hits him in his face. Yeah, I did something. Yeah, hey, let me hold your head back while you throw up. It's like, come on, man.
You know,
That's the
if you were to watch like the YouTube series like DBZ Abridged, like that moment was just funny where he just goes like well, you know what, F Super Saiyans, F power levels, and F you, and he's just like Kikosho, and that's like another high, even though it's technically like unofficial. That was like one of my favorite moments too.
Because he was kind of cool, man. He had like 3 eyes, bro, and he had a little triangle. You know, like he would do this and he'd shoot out some lasers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, you know, I felt like how everyone got a power up. I felt like those characters didn't get their own type of transformation. I mean, other than Piccolo and Gohan more now. So I'm happy about that latest movie that they came with.
Yeah.
I felt like they finally did those two justice.
With the
Yeah.
exception of Roshi, Krillin and Tien did not do much at the Tournament of Power, and that was like a big disappointment to me too. And I feel like even Piccolo got like gypped at one point, like how he got eliminated. All bad.
Yeah.
I feel like they should have better moments. Like that's, again, I hate to say it, that's why I enjoy One Piece so much, because every character that's under Luffy, yeah, you know, Luffy's going to be the main dude to fight the main guy, but each other character has their own moments fighting like a number 2 or number 3.
Yeah. Yeah. I can definitely see that. And I know, obviously Joe and I have talked about Dragon Ball offline, and he brings up a lot of good points. Like, Gohan was supposed to be like the next great fighter, and then they just sidetracked him to become Saiyaman, and then like Piccolo's just always been kind of like the babysitter, But and I feel like when it just that's Dragon Ball superhero movie, they just said like, okay, let's check off Joe's complaints. Okay, Piccolo, Gohan, we're gonna leave Vegeta and Goku somewhere else. Okay, cool. I just love that movie so much because they just did so well on correcting everything that Joe complains about.
Even the whole Vegeta thing, like if Goku gets, I mean, even then, like Goku gets Ultra Instinct, but Vegeta doesn't, but he gets his own version ego. So it's like they're always, like Vegeta is always one below. And I don't know if you ever heard that, Jake, but it's always meant Vegeta was always going to be below. Like your creator's like, he's always going to be below Goku. Like he's never going to be above him, which I can't stand. And I think that's why a lot of people sort of gravitate into Vegeta, because Vegeta tends to work harder to get what he gets, and Goku comes naturally. So for dudes like me that got to work at something to get good at something and it doesn't come off naturally, I think that's why I gravitate to Vegeta a lot more than I do Goku.
I know, like at a certain point that like, Vegeta is like falling behind Goku, especially in like transformations. Like he never went to 3. They were kind of like neck and neck at one point. But I do like know like I think like what romanticized about like Vegeta's story is that he was a Saiyan elite, he was a Saiyan prince, and he was made to believe that like he was the best under the sun, and that Kakarot Goku was like a low level Saiyan, which he was, because in the beginning of the Saiyan saga, Goku was like nothing. He was nothing to Raditz, and Raditz was like low grade warrior. And probably with the life hacks that like Goku learned and like while being dead, and probably with like his love for fighting, he like kind of caught up with Vegeta, and then all of a sudden it's like Vegeta's whole perception of like where his status is shattered, and I think that's like why a lot of people gravitate towards Vegeta, because we all love self-made guy, a guy that's like, I'm gonna be the best, even if he might not make it, he'll try his damn best,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what was dope about it too, sorry, because was when they gave him justice and he smashed Vegeta. I think I was in the, or not Vegeta, Frieza, when he like owned him quick and he's getting ready to kill him. To me, that was like, yeah, that's how it should be, baby. Even though
And,
Frieza's
and,
my
Go-
favorite
and
villain.
Goku stole that win at the
Yes.
end because of the time travel bullshit, you know? Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to say that. But I remember I was at the theater like when Vegeta went blue for the first time. My friend was with us. He was sitting in a different seat and he just yelled like "F him up" and got the whole theater like riling. And Vegeta would deserve that win because Frieza was the one who enslaved him for most of his life. You know, Goku was just someone that like escaped his tyranny and somehow just got the best of him. And to me, I never understood like why Goku and Frieza had like that much of a dynamic. Probably because Goku was just like that one that got away, maybe, or something. Whereas I always thought Vegeta like needed that win. He should have been the one to take out Frieza, at least in the Resurrection F movie.
I agree. That's again my biggest beef. One of my biggest beefs,
Yeah.
anyway.
Even I have to agree with that one. Just if you look how Cooler was Cooler Frieza's dad, or
His brother,
okay, it was his brother. What was his dad's name? Frieza
King
Sr.?
Cold.
That's right, King Cold. Okay.
Like another naming scheme, like
Yeah.
Frieza, Cold, Cooler. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the way that he came in and like they just completely disrespected the Saiyans and just looked down on the Saiyans, and how Vegeta's dad was obviously the king, but he was nothing in the eyes of Frieza and his dad and his brother. I feel like Vegeta just deserved that redemption because of the way that he disrespected his family and everything. So I agree with you guys. It's hard for me to say that Goku shouldn't have been the main dude, but in this case, I agree 110. That they stole that from Vegeta.
I agree, Jim.
Uh,
Okay, can I get caught up real quick? Okay,
Yeah.
So we got Krillin as a human. So some of this story takes place on Earth.
But he doesn't have a nose, right?
No, he doesn't have a nose. I saw that. He's got no hair
Okay.
either. And then
Okay.
Saiyans,
No, he
are
actually
the
can
aliens.
grow hair.
He
just
shaves his hair.
Ah,
Yeah.
I got you.
And he
So
has like the hottest chick on the planet, but she's an android.
17, 18?
18.
Wait,
She's legal.
18. Yeah,
18.
18. That's the thing. She's legal.
Okay, and
her
then
brother's
so
not for some reason.
he's human. Trunks human as well from the future.
No, saying half human.
Saying half human, but from the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of like the Kyle Reese of the Dragon Ball universe. Like his whole arc is kind of like the Terminator,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Vegeta's kind of like Bakugo from My Hero, where he's like, there'll be a point in time where I'm not going to be able to beat him. There's going to be a point in time where I'm not going to be as strong as him.
Joe would disagree. He's definitely the Bakuga of Dragon Ball.
And that's fresh in my head because I'm getting caught up on MHA right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good. You got us. I think all the ladies, gentlemen, and knights who don't watch Dragon Ball appreciate Alfonso's sort of, looking at everything from the outside. So thanks for that. Favorite movie, definitely Dragon Ball Super. I just remember being hyped up in the movie theater when Piccolo went like, Namekian gold and he got super big. Like everyone went crazy. We all went crazy. And then when Gohan, like, I don't know what level he like went Ultra Instinct, but it wasn't Ultra. Maybe Jake or Joe, you can tell me what that was, but that movie was just incredible, man. I loved it.
If you want to go ahead.
No, you go ahead, bro.
Okay. I believe that's Beast Mode or Gohan Beast, or as like the Hispanic community will probably call it, Gohan Blanco.
Okay, that's dope. I never knew that, but that's totally dope. Jake, what's your favorite Dragon Ball movie?
I'm gonna have to say the Super Broly movie. And I think the reason why I lent this one to Alfonso, even though he didn't watch it, was because I thought it would have been like a good introduction, because it showed within like the first 30 minutes, it shows like the introduction to the, Saiyan history, how like Frieza was like, ruled over them, and how like, how they became like an endangered species. You know, just like as a quick synopsis, and then just into the action, you're introduced to like, you know, Broly, how they found him, how you know, they come to Earth with Frieza in tow, with him scheming, and yeah, there's just hype moments all around. I thought it was like, you know, really good, you know, writing for the time, because like, you know, like Joe, you know, as much as I love Dragon Ball, it is not the best, you know, story. Where there are like better anime out there, but that one I felt like it brought its A game, you know.
Did you were okay with the changes from the original?
The Bardock stuff, not really, but I know like the minus was like a kind of like a revamp for that. But like I did like that they still include that he was there trying to fight against Frieza and his forces. But I do miss his blood-soaked headband that, you know, that he you know, wiped from his friend, and that's what he like carried with him, and that kind of got retconned, so that always bothered me. But the Broly stuff, I like this a lot more better, at least that he's not crying over Goku because he, you know, made him cry as a baby, and that's why he hates him. That, to me, that never made sense. Whereas, you know, this one, he's a much more like rounded written character in a way, you know.
And they're not. I guess they were the same age too, because Kakarot kept crying, and that was the whole thing. Broly couldn't stand him crying.
Yeah. Like on paper, like, you know, him being the legendary Super Saiyan was like super cool and everything, but his origin stories was like, wait, what? That's why you're mad? That's why you're super powerful?
Mm-hmm.
Because this, you know, you as a baby were upset that another baby next to you was crying. And how do you ever remember that, you know? I don't know. Maybe you can remember stuff as a baby when you're saying, who knows?
Yeah.
I remember one of the tapes that Joe gave me like a million years ago was the Broly tape.
Yep.
And I was like, why is this guy so strong? Like, I just did not understand that movie at all. But yeah, Joe, what's your favorite?
Probably the same one that you like. I mean, I thought it was. I enjoyed Piccolo and Gohan having their just due. So for me, that's always my biggest complaint of the whole series, and for them to fix it. I really appreciate that, and it just seems like every time Gohan, what they're trying to do with Gohan, especially with Vegeta and Goku, is like every time they get power ups, are never the same. They're all Saiyans, but they got different power ups, different names for it, which is, I think, is pretty cool, I guess.
Cool. So let's see here. I want to jump into real fast the future of Dragon Ball, and then we'll round it out by you know, assigning Dragon Ball villains or heroes to each of us. But the future of Dragon Ball is Dragon Ball Daima. So let's take a look at what the trailer looks like. This is something based on what I understand, and you know, once again, Jake or Joe, correct me if I'm wrong. By the way, Alfonso, I know that your favorite Dragon Ball movie was Dragon Ball 2 Electric Boogaloo. So
No, it was the live action. No, never mind. I can't back that.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
I will say the live action was so bad that it brought Akira Toriyama out of retirement. So I mean, that was good. But let's take a look at this Dragon Ball Daima. Joe, get ready to fire up all your hate at this. Here we go. So I'm just gonna go open melee. What do you guys think of that?
I think Dragon Ball GT looks awesome.
It's funny when I was doing research, that was what a lot of people were concerned about, is that it just seemed a lot like GT.
It just looks like let's try to make GT look better. I mean, no one watches GT. I don't even think you've watched GT, bro. I don't think.
I've watched the first few episodes.
Let's put it this way: even though GT made Vegeta go Super Saiyan 4, like with Goku, I didn't.
Mhm.
To me, I felt like it was unnatural, and it shouldn't have done that because he didn't even go Super Saiyan 3. GT's just garbage, and I'm thinking that this is just going to be a better GT. So we'll wait and see.
So you're saying you're gonna give it a chance?
Yeah, because I subscribe to Crunchyroll, so I can watch it for free.
Oh wow, you just rub that in, huh?
Is this a reboot?
No.
It's not a reboot, but GT Goku gets turned into a little kid like that. And so
Okay.
he's running around, but I think it was a blue suit, I think, at the time. And so I think in this one, they all turn small, I think.
Yes.
But again, to my point, why not show all of them instead of just Goku? Like Goku's like the end all be all of Dragon Ball. There's other people that like, different characters you would like to see. For someone to get me that's gonna be more interested, you think you'd show my boy.
I'm okay with them just showing Goku. So, Jake, what do you think of that?
Honestly, I kind of see it as like, okay, GT, but instead of making Goku a kid, let's make everyone a kid. This is, to me, like, I'm not criticizing it, but just saying like, oh, this is basically like Dragon Ball babies, turning everyone into kids. The only thing I kind of am hyped to see, because we didn't get to see him in that trailer, is Gohan. And now Gohan as a kid, that's to me when he peaked. Not as adult, but when he was a kid. Now, is he gonna be like, Namek Saga with the bowl haircut, or like the long hair, or is he gonna be like, Super Saiyan 2 as a kid? I don't know. I'm hoping a Super Saiyan 2 version, or preteen Gohan, but we'll see. We'll see.
I saw some art. I think he is going to be preteen, but I think he's not preteen bull haircut. He's preteen hanging out with Trunks haircut. So I they're going to mess with that a little bit, which I think is the original bull haircut when he was hanging out with Piccolo. That was the best, Then they kind of messed it up. What about you, Alfonso? You're the eye of the audience. What do you think?
He's the X Factor.
He's the X.
Yeah.
He's the dragon normie.
I was kind of hoping it was reboot, because then I'm like, hey, I'll give it a try. But I might as well give it a try though. It's like I'm trying to watch a little more of everything nowadays. So if you guys are watching it, I'll give it a try, and then we can discuss.
Alf,
Set me
just
straight.
watch Super.
Super.
I think that's you're gonna get a better, more entertaining, less filler, more fighting,
More fighting.
more
Okay,
and better anime. So I think I would start there. I wouldn't start from the past. Don't even waste your time.
Gotcha.
I mean, you could always start with Kai if you want to do that too.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time, Alf. Just start with Super.
Should I start with Broly?
No.
It was in
No.
my house for 12 months.
I finally
I'll watch the
got it
new
back
one.
from you because I needed to let someone else borrow it, and he returned it within like 5 days.
That's a friend.
So I think the reason they did this was because Dragon Ball fans are sort of aging out, because if you look at most of the animes now, they have younger characters that the younger anime fans relate to. So I think they're trying to bring in a new audience. And to Alfonso's point, it is kind of like a reboot, because basically someone comes up with a plan, the standard, he turns into a kid, but I think you'll be able to start fresh, and you won't have to know all the backstory and, understand like, oh, this is the god of destruction and, everything like that. It'll just be like, boom, he got turned into a kid and go, kind of like GT, You know, like GT, you could just kind of pick it up and go, even though it's not, well, it is canon now, but it wasn't for years. So I think that's why they did it. So here is a tough one. This is going to be what takes us home. And this is it's a tough one because, well, it's really easy for Joe, but for the three of us, it's probably going to be hard. So, what Dragon Ball character do we see each other as? So I'm gonna go with Joe first because it comes as no surprise. It's Vegeta. Because Vegeta's always like, this sucks, but I'll do it. But it sucks. And everybody loves Vegeta because he's like honest. So yeah. Jake, what you know of Joe, who do you see him as?
Well, I don't know Joe that well. But just from some of the shows that I watched and from this interaction, I'm have to agree. I'll probably say Vegeta as well. You know, he hates everything, or I don't want to, or maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but like dislikes everything, but puts up with it anyway. You know.
Alfonso?
I'm gonna say Vegeta just to make him happy.
Yeah, Joe is definitely Vegeta, and you know, Vegeta used to be my favorite, so you know that says something. But Jake, I thought about it because I was like, I don't know Jake that well, but I kind of see Jake as like being like Trunks, because like he pulls in knowledge from everybody, and he's kind of like that guy who's like, this is what we're doing next. Like this is what we should be doing. Like you're kind of like the future of all this nerd stuff, you know, whereas we're like the Goku and Vegeta and whoever Alfonso is. Even though I don't see myself as Goku. But yeah, you're definitely Trunks. Definitely. What do you think of that, Joe?
Yeah, I totally agree. I can see him as Trunks. But now the question is he future Trunks or baby Trunks?
Oh no, dude! Come on, Baby Trunks sucks. Now I'm sounding like Joe.
I don't know,
Baby
like
Trunks.
what is it?
Oh,
10-year-old Trunks was dope though, dude.
was that when he did the fusion with?
Yeah. I think it was like
Yes,
10. He was
but he
dope
was
too.
annoying. He may have been, when he was fighting, he was cool, but when he wasn't fighting, both of them were so annoying. So
Yeah,
I'm
but
talking
he's
future
having
Trunks.
fun.
I'm talking future Trunks, not preteen Trunks. That kid was so annoying, man. Alfonso.
I'm gonna say you guys made an astute observation, and I'm gonna have to agree with Trunks. But to me, Jake is always, even though like he's a grown man, to me he's still this little boy. So I'm gonna see him as Baby Trunks.
Oh, but Baby Trunks is annoying.
And here I always
Okay.
considered myself Gohan because I had all this potential in it, and then I fell off and it went to waste.
Nah, see, you're definitely the future, dude. It's like, you know where we should be going. Definitely. Now, Alfonso, this one's gonna throw you for a loop, and you're gonna be like, oh, but really? That's what you're giving Alfonso? Yes. Yes. Because Majin Buu is always happy, but you know he can mess you up. He chooses not to. Like Majin Buu is the world destroyer, but he's always super nice and fun and happy. Alfonso is Majin Buu. And you know there's some kid Buu and some evil Buu in Alfonso. He just doesn't let it out. What do you think, Jake?
All right, so I'm not. I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but just go with me on this. I kind of see you as Krillin. You know why? Because like you're the best friend. You're always down for to jump in, have a good time. And also you pull the ladies. I know you do. that I would say like that's the big accomplishment right there.
Dude, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say Krillin respectfully, but if you remember, every time Krillin was there, who was always doing the feedback and letting people know what was going on? It was always Krillin. He was always breaking it down. This is what's happening. This was doing, and that's what Alf does every time. He breaks
Yeah.
stuff down, and at the last minute, hey, this and this and this is trying to do the recap, and that's totally Krillin because Krillin does that all the time.
Yeah, I can totally agree with that. I would say Krillin, I considered, but I was like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful like that. But I see how it is
But
with
you
with
can't because
Vegeta and
at the end of the
Trunks.
day, at the end of the day, you can't because he did pull a hot chick. So I mean,
He
Hey, I
he
have
pulled the
nothing but
hottest.
respect for Krillin, honestly.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Krillin even had that dope moment in the Super movie when he like hyped up Android 18. So yeah, even Krillin had his moment. So yeah, even Krillin. Okay, so this is how friendships are broken. What do you guys have for me?
Ooh, I want to go first.
Yeah, go.
I'm gonna say Piccolo
Gee, I wonder why.
because he's green. No, it's the antennas. No, I mean, it's kind of like the father figure kind of thing. I'm not saying you're my daddy, but it just, I don't know, just like the persona. It's like from what I remember, he wasn't outspoken. And I mean, like Dukes is different in person than he is here on the podcast. He's pretty stoic, right? So I don't think it's a bad thing. So I don't know. That's just from what very little I know of Dragon Ball Z. That's my answer.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what everyone else has to say. Crickets.
All right. Thinking about it because like I said, like I've only spoken to you like a limited number of times. But I'm gonna say Goku. Just because like I feel like since this is your show, you're pulling everyone together. You bring a community around you, and that's something that like Goku does too. Like just people can't help but be drawn to you.
That's very nice. Very nice for you to say. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
see, you know how like the borderline separates me and you right here. So for me, it's kind of like the qualities. You have qualities of Goku, which is to Jake's point, you do that. But I feel like on the analytical stuff where you break stuff down, Piccolo does that a lot in the anime, where he just
Mhm.
sits there and breaks stuff down of what they should do, and the father figure part of taking over, like to your point, to you being a good dad to a son. You know what I'm saying? So for
Yeah.
me, that's leans more towards Piccolo in that aspect of like the analytical part and being the dad. But I can see the Goku part too.
Jake, I want to be Goku, but I know I'm Piccolo, dude. Like seriously, I want to be Goku, but Alfonso described it perfectly.
Mm.
Like, dude, you can put me in a room of people, and I might say 5 words. Might say 5
Mhm.
words, dude. Yeah, and just the whole dad thing. Yeah, I'm totally Piccolo, dude. You guys nailed that one, which is pretty cool. Because other than me calling Alfonso Majin Buu, which, dude, Majin Buu is okay, he's one of my favorites, first of all, but Majin Buu is a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's another
like,
thing. They did nothing with him.
oh, dude, they did nothing with Majin Buu. Like, absolutely nothing. Like, Majin Buu was just wrecking fools.
Mhm.
And then he just ends up hanging out with Mr. Hercule or Mr. Satan, whatever you want to
Mm.
call him, Hulk Hogan not. Yeah, man.
Yeah, they wanted to pull him for like two different tournaments, and he ends up falling asleep through both of them, and that's why they had to get Frieza back back on the Tournament of Power because Boo fell asleep, like couldn't be
Yeah.
bothered.
I feel like though if Majin Buu ever gets motivated, because didn't someone mess with his dog or was it his food? It's his food, right? If you mess with his food, then he'll just go off. Isn't that what it is?
I want to say it was a dog.
Yeah, okay, it was the dog.
It's been both, like
Okay.
both occasions, like a John Wick moment. Why
Yes.
like he turned like evil Boo or like Super Boo, then Kid Boo, and then like the food moment where he tried to go off on Beerus, but it didn't work out in his favor. But yeah,
That's dope. Well, ladies, gentlemen, and knights of the Nerd World Order, on behalf of Future Trunks, Krillin, and Vegeta, this brings us to the close of this episode of the Nerd World Order. So until next time, I'm NWO.
We are NWO.
Nerds redefine.
Booyah.